Okay, two last examples of sketching polynomial functions. This h of x is already factored out for me, which is really nice as far as finding the zeros, but it doesn't really help me with the leading term. So I have to go through and think about if I multiply this all together, what would I end up with? Well, there's no exponents on any of these factors, so it's x times x is x squared, times x is x cubed, times x is x to the fourth. So our leading term is x to the fourth. It's positive, so my right side goes up, and the exponent is even, so that means both sides do the same thing. Okay, now what about the zeros? Well, we just look right there at the factors, copy them down, and determine the zeros from that. What makes this zero, what makes this zero, etc. So our zeros are 0, positive 4, negative 1, and positive 2. Since there were no exponents, the multiplicity for each of these is 1, which means we're crossing at each one of these zeros. Now if I'm sketching this on paper, I mark my 0 here on 0, and at 4, and at negative 1, and at 2. And I know that I'm going to cross through all of those. The last thing we'd want to do is the y-intercept. If you plug in a 0 here and work it out, hey, be careful. Let me show you here real quick. Back up. If I put 0 in here, that's obviously 0, but then this is going to be a negative 4, this is going to be a 1, this is going to be a negative 2. And when you multiply that all out, well, yep, you multiply by 0, so you do get a 0. All right, so 0, 0 would be our y-intercept as well as an x-intercept. Since we know that the left side starts from the up, we come down, cross through the first 0, then through the next, come back, cross through the third, and then finally cross through the fourth 0 and end up going positive. Last example. All right, g of x equals negative x cubed plus stuff. Okay, well on this one, my leading term is negative, so that means my right side goes down. My exponent is odd this time, so my ends go the opposite direction. Okay, for the zeros, we're going to have to factor this guy. This one's a little bit complicated, which is why I wanted to include it as an example. First off, because there are 4 terms, our general technique for factoring 4 term is factor by grouping. Okay, I look through, is there anything I can pull out common? Not really, but I do go ahead and factor out that negative just because it's hard to factor things if there's a negative as your leading term. So let's just factor that out and leave it out front. It's not going to hurt anything. Now I'm just focusing on this inside part. So if I look at these first 2, I can pull out an x squared. That leaves me with x minus 2. I look at these last 2. Well, hey, I can pull out a negative 4 there, and that leaves me with x minus 2 also, right? Because positive 8 divided by a negative 4 is a negative 2. Then because my parentheses match, I can keep going, and I have my x minus 2 times what's left, the x squared minus the 4. But x squared minus 4 is the difference of squares, so we can break that down as x plus 2 and x minus 2. Now remember, before we decide on our zeros, we want to condense any like factors. I've got an x minus 2 here and an x minus 2 here, so let's write it once as a square, and then our x plus 2. Now we're done. Now we can write out our table and get our factors and our zeros. So if it's x minus 2, then the 0 is 2. If it's x plus 2, the 0 is negative 2. And on the 2, that's where we had the exponent of 2, so we're going to actually touch and turn there. At the negative 2, its exponent was 1, so we're going to cross. The y-intercept, if you plug it in, now this time, when you plug in 0 for x, well, these all go to 0, but you're still with a negative 8. So we actually have a y-intercept of 0, negative 8 on here, way down here. So at negative 2 and at 2, we have zeros, and a y-intercept at negative 8. We know we had to start from the up, and we're crossing at the negative 2, finding our y-intercept, coming up, and we're going to just hit our x-intercept of 2 and then turn around and end up in the downward direction.